Hi, my name is Ka. If you like the artwork that I make in this video, I also have commissions available. I do custom characters, OCs, and more. When you commission me, you're not only helping me, but you're also helping out my son, Anino. If you do choose to commission me, you'll be helping us find a better place to live. The link to my commissions form and guidelines are in the description. Now let's get into the video. First off, I would like to say that this is very exciting for me, and I hope y'all see that excitement in this video as well, because I've been thinking about redesigning these characters for like a minute now. And originally they were created back in 2019. During my freshman year of college, they were actually meant for an assignment. It was for my introduction to 2D, I believe, or 2D fundamentals, something like that. And basically the illustration that I made with these two characters was supposed to encapsulate 3 lessons I learned within that year. So, if I remember correctly, I was playing with a lot of cool colors and warm tones with the characters. I was also trying to do some like hierarchy and like I forget something else. But basically that was my assignment when it was in 2019. And so for today, I thought, I want to do something a little bit more different than what I usually do for my characters. If you've been following me for a minute, you know that I just finished or completed most of my Earth Quintuple Zero series, which is more of my current style, like a comic booky, semi-realism type style. And so I wanted to go back into my digital art roots for this one. And what I mean by that is if you've followed me for even longer than 2025 or 2026, I had a few videos back in 2019 when I first started digital art. And basically during that time, I never did line art. I always did like paintings or tried to do like smooth shading, no line art type artwork. So for today, yes, you're gonna see me outlining and like making like a character with lines just to get the features down, but later on, like probably in the next video, I'll show you how I render these characters without the line art. But first I want to start off with thinking about the original characters that I made, and yes, I want to be somewhat true to the original characters. However, I do want to push the boundaries with them a lot for these new renditions. And so I was trying to think of something I don't usually do again, and most of the time I do very semi-realistic people, like people that look like people. So the design I was trying to think of was like maybe I can work with something a little less realistic, a little less human, and see what I can do with that, because that would follow along best with the story I created in the original illustration, which, if you did not know, the 2 twins I put in the illustration for my original piece, they're looking up at this figure, as you can see in cast shadow. It's like this monstrous creature, which I try to make it a little fun twist at being their 3rd sibling, or instead of them being twins, they're actually triplets. So, what I thought of for the premise of that original illustration is that the 3rd sibling or triplet turned into like an ice-like monster. And so when I think of ice, I'm thinking maybe they can be originally made of water, and then turning into ice turns them into this monstrous creature. So that's where I basically started off with my concepts and ideas, my sketches, when I tried making this little design little video. So you're going to see a lot of the characters I'm sketching as basically liquid form, or a lot more organic looking versus having like perfect anatomy or any anatomy, if that. So yeah, I was exploring, and yes, again, I was heavily influenced by the original designs of the 2 characters I have in the original. So you're going to see me start off with that, which is typically not my process, but I already knew this is going to be a redesign of old characters, so that's what I went with. But for the sake of it being a concept art portfolio, you will also see me later sketching in different renditions of totally different styles to just show my brain and how it works when I'm thinking about a water-based character, or if they're basically going to be made of water, how would they take form? So, with that being said, for this, I did want to put 3 of the siblings, the 3 triplets, as their normal
water selves for this sheet and for this video, but in future videos I already have in mind of how I'm going to basically create the ice monster of the third sibling. And if I'm being completely honest, even for this character design, I was trying to think, do I want to switch which of the twins, or sorry, triplets, would be the monster, or do I want to be true to what I thought would be the monster in the original? And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't make them perfect triplets just because it seemed a little bit repetitive, especially if I'm trying to showcase true triplets. I feel like a lot of people that tend to look identical try their best to not look super identical to their other siblings or other sibling. At least from my experience, like I grew up with a few twins around me growing up, and like they basically were polar opposites of each other. So while not complete opposites, I wanted to at least make them a little bit more distinguishable through their features. Like, yes, their faces are going to be the same, but I wanted like their hairstyles to give them their own personality, if that makes sense. And later on, when I do coloring in another video, you will see that I was debating between whether I want the three of them to be basically three different bodies of water, like coming from three different places, or thinking of how they would dress differently, because yes, they all will have the same kind of like parka, fur coat type sweater thing that they're wearing, but I thought maybe having different colors to make them more different besides like their features, like their hair, would be a nice touch. So yeah, that's something that I just kept in mind of. But ultimately, like I did think about it early before getting into the coloring, if they should be in three different bodies of water and make them three different colors of water, but I'm thinking these are triplets. You know, they're sisters, and they most likely come from the same place if they're triplets. So it wouldn't make sense for me to put them as three different colors or come from three different bodies of water when they're in fact supposed to be from the same body of water, if we're thinking logically like that. So that was my choice for that. Um, but okay, I'm trying to remember what else I was trying to discuss in this video, because right now I'm freeballing. Usually I would have like my notes, but I'm currently away from like my laptop. So bear with me here. I would say that originally I thought about maybe swaying from the original like a lot, besides of course making them not human, but I thought maybe they would be more water-like versus like looking or resembling the old characters from the start, and thought maybe this will just be create a new character with me, but that would kind of be a lie, because I'm taking inspiration from my original illustration, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And so that will begin the new series that I'm thinking of. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't have a name for this series yet, although I will also say that because I thought of these characters being water-based, I was also now thinking of what other characters would exist in their world. I'm already thinking about that. And you're not going to see those characters for a little minute until I finish up these characters, because these are going to be like our main characters, our protagonists for whatever story I'm thinking of concocting. Or if I'm going to follow the original story that I thought of for my 2019 piece. And I'll share a little bit about that actually. So originally I thought of this story of these girls exploring like a forbidden lab, right? That's like maybe found in the middle of like a tundra. And that's why they're wearing like these jackets or coats, so that they can keep warm while they're in that cold environment. But my little thing is, I was thinking that the third sibling is a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more curious than her other two sisters, and stumbled across something or someone that ended up making them a monster. And for this monster, she would basically have no autonomy over herself, and just kind of become this like puppet for whatever made her into a monster, and start attacking like her siblings, which is why they're like holding each other in fear in the illustration, because they're looking at what was supposed to be their sibling and it's someone or something they don't recognize. So I'm kind of trying to follow that type of story, thinking about, would it be a substance or could there be a villain? And I feel like it would be more fun to include a villain, and possibly thinking about maybe making this a very elemental type character base, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna be completely honest, like when I was thinking about making these characters or these girls like water, I was really trying to not think about the movie Elemental, because yes, they do a similar thing, but I wanted to create something that was like my own. And yes, like it's a similar concept of them being like elements from Earth, like rocks, water, fire, and like air or clouds in the movie. But for this one, I wanted to be a lot more abstracted versus giving them a very much human form. While yes, the faces and the hair of these three girls are kind of humanoid, I was still trying to think how I can make the rest of their body or features abstract. But yeah.
But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. I'm sorry if the audio sounds a little bit different. I'm in a different location right now. But yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment something that you thought was interesting, or any of your thoughts of what I should probably do with this series. I'm open to suggestions, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.